The innocent can never last. Wake me up when September ends. Like my father's come to pass. 20 years has gone so fast. Wake me up when September ends. Wake me up when September ends. Wake me up when September ends.
And all right, how's it going, party people? Welcome to another episode of STS. I am your host, Useless Agent, as always, and today is the 6th of September, so we are 5 days away from our final episode of this week's coverage, or at least of this year's coverage. We're gonna do this every year. I told you guys I was going to do this last year, and I chickened out, and I couldn't believe I chickened out. I didn't get any complaints for it. That's right. I'm wearing my headphones. All right, remember this. There's a headphone in the hat, and I don't have one for this side. So, yeah, like I said, I'm ghetto as fuck, and I don't care. So don't bitch about that. So I like to start off the first 5 minutes usually talking about where we left off and what has happened since. And I know that it's a daily show. There's not that much that can happen, but there is shit that does, you know? So we've been talking about Rebecca Roth, and we're going to get back to her. She's such a fountain of information that I didn't want to put it all in one episode. There was no way I was going to be able to get all of that info in 30 minutes. And especially I want to at least let you hear from her at least one amazing story. So I'm trying to figure out which story it's going to be and how I can get it up there. Most likely I'll have to record it off of Spotify and off of one of the interviews that she does. Rebecca Roth does not care about using her footage, her information. She wants you to. She wants everyone to get as acquainted to it as possible. And that shows you what kind of truth teller she is. You know, she doesn't obscure it. She doesn't add or subtract. She gives you what she has when she has it. And when it comes down to the debunkers that try harassing her, assholes like Fritzer that ended up having to pay $500,000 to a father of one of the Sandy Hook victims. And, that's a whole nother rabbit hole you can get yourself into. That is a very dangerous rabbit hole to get into. And it's just not a good place to start. But let's go ahead and start with today. So today we're talking about A&E for 9/11 Truth. Of course, I'm not talking about A&E, the channel, and the Arts and Entertainment channel, nor am I talking about Chandler Bing from Friends. I am talking about a guy named David Chandler, who is now a member of A&E for 9/11 Truth, but architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth are filled with a lot of professional engineers, and David Chandler was a high school teacher. So the fact that he managed to get his words out there and using his pass because you needed some sort of professional affiliation when you sent in your question for NIST. And the two people that they picked for their questions, and of course didn't even answer their questions, but the two people that answered it, and one of the answers was a bumbling, I mean, I love how he even has to freeze it and say, I would expect this kind of answer from a student that didn't even read the book. He tries to get them to explain the free fall, not just admit the time of free fall, because free fall happens when there is no structural components that can give resistance. So free fall just means when you take your car keys and just drop them. That's how he puts it. That's free fall. It's just the speed in which something falls without resistance. So in order for free fall, you need no resistance. Now, as you can tell by looking at the building, there was over 80 floors of resistance. So the fact that there was any free fall speed on any of those, I'm sorry, I'm talking about building 7 here, and we're not talking about WTC 1 or 2. So we're talking about 7, and when 7 falls, it falls in a perfectly symmetrical order, which of course to one engineer in particular, she's amazing. This architect managed to say that was the smoking gun for her, and it should have been for a lot of us, but this was a psyop. This was literally done to scare us so bad that we would take critical thinking, common sense, and rationality and toss it out the window and just say, oh my God, what is happening? And that is what happened. That's what happened. And they nailed it. They fucked up a lot and left a lot of mistakes, but overall they got what they wanted. And so no matter what, the only thing we can do now is catch up. We've already lost that battle, but that does not mean we're done. We've got a long way to go. So let's go ahead. I want to show you one of the videos he does. Hopefully this is the right video that has that Cheyenne Sunder incident, which was probably the funniest thing I'd ever seen. But oh yeah, one more thing that I wanted to mention before we get started on the videos was I am also on TikTok under Useless Agent or Mexabam, and I want to just mention this because Mexabam is a first, it's a take on, I'm not Mexican. I always say I'm Mexican by proxy because all my friends are Mexican. All my friends are usually Hispanic, some form of brown. And I don't know, just white people never let me in their clubs. So I often hear, why do you talk about this shit when you're white? I wish I was, bro. If I was, maybe my life wouldn't have been so shitty. Because my father was white as rice. My mom is as fucking dark as sin. So, I was not going to have much of a chance on the Aryan scale, on the master race kind of scale. Which is why my grandmother did not like my older sister. She was also a racist. And she didn't like me, and she didn't like my sister, and we didn't care. I never met the woman. She died before I was even born, and she wouldn't have liked me anyway. So I really, that's for you, Grandma. Yeah, she never liked my mother. It's just amazing how, even in mixed families and shit like that you're going to see so much shit. And so I think that's also why I jumped into these racial debates, is simply because I do have a dog in this fight. I am that dog, I have been treated like shit because I'm simply not white enough. Now, I'm not going to go through my whole family tree or any of that bullshit. I'm Italian. And of course, I'm a billion other things, but overall, nobody cares. People identify you by one thing. You know, you're either white or you're black or you're Mexican or you're Puerto Rican or you're. You know, there's literally only about 20, maybe 20. I want to say about 10 races that people will automatically go to. You know, you're either white, black, Hispanic, or Asian or Middle Eastern. It's like, no, there's Mediterranean, there's Eastern Asia, there's Africa, there's South Africa, there's America, there's North America, there's South America. There's a lot of nuance that should be applied that is never applied. So I even got told by a Mexican girl she couldn't give me her phone number because her parents don't like Indians. I had to explain to her, sweetheart, I'm from Chicago. I'm as American as they come, and so are you. And I don't have any Indian in me, and why would that fucking matter? And when it comes to dating, I have dated from a Sylvanian girl that was literally tougher than I was, and I swear to God, she could have kicked my ass at any point. All right, I know I'm trailing off, but I just need to say this because there's so much bullshit about who I am and my race that I don't want that thrown in. And I'm so sick of that debate because you guys don't know what I am. And so people just kind of make up shit. And no, I'm not Assyrian. No, I'm not Indian. No, I'm not Native American. And no, I'm not Filipino. All right. So, who gives a flying fuck? Why does that matter? I don't know. So I really want to say thank you so much to the people that enjoyed the Mexibam video I did on TikTok, and so I just want to say thank you so. I did a Mexibam video that was about the unfairness that I saw with a bunch of white people tackling one black guy for stealing some bracelets, I guess some like jewelry, some diamonds or some shit. All that shit is insured. Even if you just fucking left that guy alone, nothing would have happened. They wouldn't have lost anything. Everything's insured. Like, you just wanted to tackle a black guy, and this was in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I know that fucking place is racist as fuck. So, to me, it was just an excuse for someone to tackle a black guy, and they all held him down like as if he had a gun, not a bracelet. And so, I understand shoplifting is bad. And don't give me that shit that's not shoplifting, that's grand larceny. Motherfucker, it's shoplifting. You're grabbing some, you're leaving. It's a dash, all right? It's all the same shit, bro. And again, the African nations are always the number one exploited and destroyed over these stupid ass things. So when I see a black guy being the one that's taking it, I don't know. I don't see a problem here. I see a guy that's been disillusioned and disenfranchised by that very rock itself, being told it's so valuable. So when he steals it, it's kind of poetic justice in its own way. Because had it not been for slavery, he might have grown to be that guy that works in those landmines till the day he dies. A lot of them are child slaves that have to live there and work there their whole lives until they give out. So, all right, I just want to say thank you so much for understanding what I meant by that. I understand that stealing is wrong and that I don't condone it, but I also don't condone tackling a poor black guy that's trying to steal some fucking shit when you know damn well if he was white, y'all would have been like, hey, you're ruining it for the rest of us. You know, like, shut the fuck up. All right, so let's go back to David Chandler and let's go ahead and start off. So what he did was he took the actual analysis, the video analysis of one of the farther away frames of the building falling down in itself. So that way he gets a good, clean, clear view. Now, a lot of debunkers, especially the one in, I believe in Italy, but he sounds like a damn Frenchman. He tries to tell you that, the fall took more than 10 seconds, and it's already been proven that no, it wasn't 10 seconds. They had to go down to like 6.5 or some shit. And so, yeah, he's going to point out all the bullshit in this because he's a fucking physics teacher and doesn't know how to throw away fact. And I will let him continue on.
Which collapsed in a manner suggesting revised analysis. This is a revised analysis of the downward acceleration of the World Trade Center Building 7, which collapsed in a manner suggestive of controlled demolition on September 11, 2001. My earlier analysis, which is posted on YouTube under my own name, was based on the best information I had at the time, but I now have been able to improve on my results using new information available in the recently released NIST final report on Building 7. Despite the accurate data available to NIST, their final report makes dishonest claims about the rate of fall of the building. I'll come back to the NIST report at the end of this video. In my earlier video analysis, I used the width of the building, which is known to be 100 meters, to calibrate the scale of the image. In this remake, I've used the vertical spacing of the windows visible as horizontal streaks on the face of the building. From this, I was able to identify the 29th floor, which is listed in the NIST document as having a height of 683 feet 6 inches, measuring from some baseline which they don't specify. They have the blueprints, I don't, but I take this measurement to be reliable. The other measurement they give is the height of the roof line, which they state is 925 feet 4 inches above their baseline. The difference of these two heights converted to meters is the basis for the calibration of this video. The actual measurements were done exactly as before. The cursor was placed on the corner of the building and marks were placed frame by frame. The built-in functions of the Physics Toolkit software capture the positions and times of these marks in a data table from which it computes and displays various kinds of graphs. I'm here plotting velocity as a function of time. The slope of this kind of graph gives the acceleration. Notice that the data hovers close to zero for nearly a second, and then it drops precipitously. From the moment of the drop, the slope of the line appears essentially constant for about 2.5 seconds. By marking two data points, the program can compute the best straight line to fit the data for the linear portion of the graph. The slope of the line is the acceleration. Down here at the bottom, the computed acceleration is shown, minus 9.885 meters per second squared. The minus sign indicates downward acceleration. The acceleration of gravity for New York City is 9.802 meters per second squared, so the measured acceleration is within 1% of the acceleration of gravity. Given the graininess and size of the image, 1% is not a significant difference from the actual acceleration of gravity. So the most accurate way to characterize the result is to say the acceleration of the building is indistinguishable from free fall. Notice that a little after the 3-second mark on our graph, about 2.5 seconds after the building drops, the acceleration ceases to be uniform. This indicates that the falling building is starting to encounter more resistance. Any measurement of the average acceleration that continues for more than the first 2.5 seconds of fall will show a lower average acceleration, masking the fact that for a significant 2.5 seconds, the building was in literal free fall. Free fall can only be achieved if there is zero resistance to the motion. In other words, the gravitational potential energy of the building is not available to crush or deform anything. During free fall, all of the gravitational potential energy of the building is being converted into kinetic energy and nothing else. Any breaking, bending, crushing, or pulverizing of the building components is occurring without the assistance of the free-falling portion of the building. Any force the top portion of the building might exert on the lower portion would be reflected in a reaction force that would produce an observable slowing of the rate of fall. A reaction force is observable in this graph only in the last seconds when the velocity strays from the straight line. Let's return to the NIST final report on WTC-7. I would like to clarify one thing right away. On page 40 there is a phrase, quote, assuming that the descent speed was approximately constant, unquote. The assumption is clearly false from even casual observation. However, the fact that they proceed to use a formula for constant acceleration clearly indicates the constant speed reference is a misstatement. They're actually assuming constant acceleration. More bizarre is the claim that, quote, the actual time for the upper 18 stories to collapse, based on video evidence, was approximately 40% longer than the computed freefall time. If you start with a 40% increase in the time of fall and work backwards to compute the effective acceleration, their claim is equivalent to saying the acceleration of the building is only 5 meters per second squared, which is 51% the acceleration of gravity. Our results, however, clearly show a significant stretch of time in which the acceleration of the building is indistinguishable from the acceleration of gravity itself. In other words, complete freefall. They did not use a method that sampled the position versus time to show the
All right. Now, so what's really interesting about this? Now, what's interesting about all that is that, again, this is a high school teacher that, with the technology available to him at that time, before that NIST final report even came out. Chandler, oh, did I spell his name wrong? I spelled his name wrong. Chandler ended up showing, along with Dr. Stephen Jones, the two doctors that they did take their questions, that completely nails them. And Cheyenne Sunder, I will try to show you this interview, but Cheyenne, his response to this about the free fall is amazing. He literally starts stumbling and saying, free fall, when gravity is, appliant to all things on this planet. And again, these are things you would say if you had no clue what to say. Like, you didn't read, like he said, like as if my student didn't read the book. That's the type of answer you would get. Not from somebody that's supposed to be the spokesperson for the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Now, when you listen to Robert Gross talk about his excuses for the lack thereof scientific study, listen to him. He starts when you start doing that and you're skipping over your words, you can't seem to even give me the first initial sentence, it means you're making it up as you're going along. Okay? And you clearly did not think before you spoke, and you spoke. So now you're just kind of buying time, douchebag. So again, David Chandler and Stephen Jones just nailed this shit. And so that's how we got them to even admit free fall occurred. So it's insanity that a high school teacher and a professor from the same fucking college as Dick Cheney had both contacted NIST, managed to get their question through and televised. That had to be so embarrassing. They had to have known, oh, fuck, don't pick those two guys. Anybody but those two guys. We don't have an answer for that. And any time they have asked for details or specifics, that's the final wording you get. Oh, well, we didn't fully explain it. And, well, that's what you were paid to do. So, again, more bullshit, more lies, disinformation, misinformation, or just none. So that'll be a wrap for today's episode. I, again, wanted to talk about those videos I made about the Scottsdale, Arizona thing, and then also the Bloody Chicago incident. Bloody Chicago is a YouTube channel and it used to be one of my favorite things to watch. He's like basically kind of like that guy in Nightcrawler. He basically just follows police around and with a camera. And, you know, I thought it was cool. It was a good thing to show us the real shit. But recently he made an episode. And so I went on TikTok and made a Mexibam video. Again, Mexibam is a Mexican Bam Margera. And that's simply a joke that everybody makes fun of me on. And if I wear that whenever I wear my LA hat, I always get Mexican Ice Cube or Mexican Easy E. So whatever, bro. I'm gonna fucking use it. If it works, it works. And I've been called Mexibam for a long time. So the fact that he goes on this fact finding series, whether you're trying to find facts or simply show us the gravity of what's really going on in our city, it's doing us a service. What is not doing us a service is when you go ahead and politicize it or try to explain it using MAGA terminology. Again, it wasn't even a dog whistle. It was a bullhorn shouting out for some reason that this is all because of the Bidens and our current mayors at the time. Obviously, he has a problem because he called them sanctuary city mayors. Yeah, God forbid we help people. Yeah, right. Who wants to do that? Another thing is that he's lying. He's bold-faced lying. He's showing you that these happen, and it's sad. It really does. It's really sad that we have weapons of war on the street. He doesn't mention that. Instead, he just says that black people are performing basically terrorist-style execution acts and wiping out, too many people, which is usually like, there was 4, 5, and this happens all the time. And what does he do? He starts going on a diatribe about the southern border. For the millionth time, the southern border is not the problem here. The problem is you're allowing people to have weapons of war. And that is what's killing us. It's not people seeking asylums and seeking fucking a way out of persecution. All right? So it makes no sense that you're going to blame the Mexicans for gang violence with American citizens. And I know to them it's just black people. But to me, that means American citizens. I don't see just black people. I see Americans, and so the facts are facts, okay? If you are an American citizen, born and raised, you are 4 times more likely to commit property crimes and 3 times more likely to commit some sort of act of extreme violence. Not the Mexican guy that lives in the basement apartment, keeps to himself and his family, minds his own fucking business, and has had the same job for 20 years, staying under the radar. That guy is not my problem. My problem is the system that allows these psychotic MAGA freaks to buy weapons of war and walk around my city. That scares me. That I hate. I don't hate people. I hate the process. I hate the system. And again, it's propaganda and it's fucking lies. All right? Get your facts straight. So Bloody Chicago, you lost my fucking support. And I'm a lifelong Chicago citizen. I said, you may have been here longer than me because you're older than me. But fuck you, you lose your pass for saying that dumbass shit. And I can't get this guy out of my head because of the dumbest shit that he was saying and the fact that everyone underneath him was saying, you're speaking the truth, bro. No, he's not. He's spitting bullshit MAGA points at you, okay? It goes both ways, man. Every fucking news industry has an agenda. Do your own research. God damn, y'all pisses me off. All right. So, love you guys. keep watching the show. Thank you for sticking with truth and not misinformation and sensationalized bullshit. Now, I could use my voice and be a fucking Alex Jones, but I will never fucking do that unless I'm actually angry. And this is about as angry as I pretty much get. I'll shout every once in a while on the Mexican channel. That's where I really go at it. All right? So, love you guys. Stay free, stay safe, stay truthful, and stay informed. All right? I will see you on the other side, but most of all, stay cheesy, my friends.